What's poppin' YouTube? We finna get into another reaction video. It's been a minute. It's been a little minute, you feel me? I had to get my mind right on some shit. But today we gonna react to the truth behind Diddy allegations and the history of the blackmail of all that stuff going on, you feel me? And the topic of Diddy right now is huge. So we just finna do it. Like, fuck it. Let's get right into the video.
The Diddy allegations are just the tip of the iceberg. According to his former bodyguard, Gene Deal, who appeared in a Fox News interview this week, the feds now have possession of videotapes seized from Diddy's mansion that contains potentially damning evidence against, quote, politicians, princes, and even preachers. Why do they always film it? Well, there's actually good reason for that. It's called sexual blackmail, and it's been going on in elite circles for over a century, since before the camera was invented. But we're going to talk more.
I don't know why I just thought about this, bro, but I had hit my brother up, I think it was yesterday or the day before that. And there was a time when him and one of my cousins was finna get like signed to Bad Boy, but he didn't want to be a part of it no more. I guess that was really his gut, his intuition. He didn't want to do it no more, you feel me? So they didn't. Cousin got mad as shit. They had a little falling out because of that. Everybody's cool again now, but I had came to my brother the other day and I'm like, bruh, you probably saved y'all's asses. Literally. Literally. They was gonna take y'all's booty. It was a good thing God saved y'all. I'm not playing. At all. At all. And you know what's crazy? I've heard this security guards videos a couple times talking about the same thing over and over again. And I believe him. But I feel like he's gonna have to come out and say, look, this is who I saw, what they did and what they was doing at the time, because unless he's under an NDA still or something, but like you saying the same thing repetitively, we not even listening to you no more, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Those videos are only circulating of the security guard now that's been talking about this for a while because it's arisen now to the public. But everybody's already known this and nobody cared until now. And you know what I really think? I'm sorry I'm going on this tangent right now, but I really think that this Diddy stuff, it's all just a distraction. Like, yeah, he probably really did it. He probably really did it. But I really think it's just a distraction from what's actually going on in the world. Like, hello, World War III? Hello? Well, let's get back into it.
About that a little later. First, I want to go over the most recent updates on Diddy's case, full list of his allegations, and the ones I think the feds have the best chance of convicting him on. But before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment on this video. Also, keep in mind that these allegations are just that, allegations, and are taken from other news sources. He has obviously not been found guilty of anything yet. Also, I'm not a lawyer, so take that for what you will. These are my speculations based off the evidence that we have so far. Okay.
He's saying all this because he's trying to save his ass because it doesn't want to get sued for defamation of character or something. But this stuff is just real. This is real life. What are you gonna do? Really sue me because I'm telling the truth? Be real, bro. I love how Cat Williams came out and said that all of these things were gonna start being revealed in the year of 2024 because God is great, God is just. And everybody was like, oh yeah, Cat Williams talking this shit again. Yeah, he really talking his shit. He meant what he said. You can't shoot the messenger. You feel me? Like, this is crazy.
So accusations against Diddy go all the way back to 1991, before he was famous. If you're my age or older, you'll remember that Diddy really shot to stardom after the Notorious B.I.G.'s first classic album, Ready to Die, was released in 1994. But back in 91, Diddy was just a young intern working at the now defunct Uptown Records, which specialized in developing and promoting R&B artists. And it was here at Uptown Records that Diddy began working with artists like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, and even young 14-year-old Usher, who lived at Diddy's apartment for a stretch during this period. And as we know now, because that interview from 2016 resurfaced, in regards to Diddy's parties, Usher said, quote, "They were crazy. There were some pretty curious things taking place that I didn't necessarily."
Usher was getting groomed by the industry, bro. That's all that is. He was getting groomed by this grown old man, Diddy. And then Usher turned around and put Justin Bieber in the same predicament. Because I guess hurt people, but if you really pure at your heart, you're not even finna do that. You ain't gonna put another child through what you went through with your own eyes and you know it caused you pain. Especially if you said out your mouth that you would never let your own son go to no Diddy stuff. Flavor camp? You said you would never let your son go to Flavor camp. Why? Why? But you sent Justin Bieber out to do all that. And shame on those parents and shame on those people for profiting off of those parents' lack of wealth. Because there's no way that these parents would just give their kids away for no reason. Shame on you. Let's continue.
Understand, adding that Diddy introduced him to a totally different set of things when it came to sex. That is a very watered down way to say that he probably witnessed some illegal activity. But of course, we can't say for sure. What we can say for sure is that Diddy was a party boy and a freak from the beginning. He used to promote and throw huge parties, some with over 1,000 people at a time, including one in the gymnasium of the City College of New York, in which there was a stampede and 9 people were trampled to death. So there's always been weird things surrounding Diddy, but again, you didn't hear a peep about this from the media because he wasn't famous yet. So that brings me to one of his first allegations of sexual violence. Keep in mind, these are women who have come forward in the wake of singer Cassie's civil suit against Diddy, which he settled out of court with her the very next day after she filed it. The lawsuit alleged all kinds of abuse, sexual, physical, and verbal. She even claimed that he forced her to have sex with male prostitutes on camera. And it was in the wake of that lawsuit that opened the floodgates for all of these other allegations. The oldest allegation is from a woman named Liza Gardner, who filed on November 23rd of last year. She claimed that she was assaulted by Diddy and another artist named Aaron Hall back in 1991. She claims that she went to Diddy's apartment for an after party and was then assaulted by both men back to back, and then says that Diddy went over to her place a few days later and physically assaulted her because he was worried that she was going to tell on him. The second lawsuit, which was filed the same day by a woman named Joy Dickerson Neal, alleges that in 1991, she reluctantly went on a date with Combs, who intentionally drugged and sexually assaulted her after their dinner. She claims that Combs recorded the assault and showed the tape to other people. While Dickerson Neal did not go to the authorities immediately after the alleged assault, she says she did eventually file a police report with unspecified agencies in New York and New Jersey. The complaint says prosecutors told her they'd need to corroborate her allegations, but she believes possible witnesses were, quote, terrified that Combs would retaliate against them and that they would lose future business.
And that right there is exactly why I'm happy that Cassie stepped out, bro. And it's like, yo, sorry for everything you've went through. But, and I hate to say it, but some people got to go through things so they could warn other people and so they could help other people. Like, I have many instances in my life where I went through some real fucked up shit, but I thank the Lord today that I even went through that fucked up shit. Because how in the world would I be able to help anybody else? And Cassie's helping a world of other people just by speaking her truth. She don't gotta talk to these women just by her coming out and telling the truth about what she's been through and what she got going on. Even filing reports. She's showing the other women like, hey, we don't gotta fear this man. You should fear no man that bleeds the same blood as you. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care. I could care less if you got boobs, and I don't care if he got a dick. You you two bleed the same. So you better fight the same. On my mama. Continue.
And music opportunities if they made a statement backing up her account. They were too afraid to lose access and opportunity. And that sums up everything that was wrong with the entertainment business back in the day. The internet has allowed independent artists, especially musicians, to have control over their careers in a way they never could before. They can fund and produce their own songs, put out their own music videos, and promote themselves on social media. They don't need powerful record executives and record labels and television outlets to produce and market their music. But back in the day, this was
He has a point. This very nice young man has a point. So check out my music, UnKnownSigna, on all streaming platforms. Thank you.
the only option. So the gatekeepers like Diddy wielded enormous power over up-and-coming singers and artists, who, by the way, are the most desperate kind of artists, in my experience, right up there with actors. Diddy had the power to get you a record deal. So when you saw or heard of crimes being committed, you kept your mouth shut. This has parallels to the Jeffrey
Diddy was
Epstein
just on the
saga.
SSL.
There were all sorts of decent people, scientists and businessmen who were in Epstein's orbit and on his plane and on his island who probably witnessed his crimes but didn't say anything because they wanted access to his funding. Money and power are corrupting and they buy silence. It's a tale as old as time. The third lawsuit was filed by a Jane Doe.
No, this is actually facts. Like there was this time recently I had somebody try to tell me that I was like a leech or something. And then somebody came to me telling me they were posting about they were like subbing me on their Instagram, talking about their resources and things like that. And I think that I should just make this statement here, just like the man said. This is all about money and power, in which spiritually I have all of. So whatever anybody could possibly be chasing after here on this planet Earth, it's very fleeting unless it's Jesus Christ himself. It's very fleeting. So any resources, anything like that, that's washed, bro. All stuff like that is washed. It gives desperation, it gives envy, it gives jealousy, especially when it's like, why are artists doing stuff like this? Only for money and power. And more money gives you more power. All they really want is power. That's all they want. They are power driven. There are so many people in this world that are power driven. And I feel like this is really pride. And the pride comes before the fall. And that's why you're watching all these people fall before your eyes. It's crazy. And I'm not gonna even sit here and talk all this shit about everybody else and not say nothing about me. I'm very prideful. I'm very prideful, bro. And it's like that's why we really need the savior, dude. That's why we need the savior because we're all so dirty. We're all so dirty and we can't get clean unless we have the savior. I really mean that, like, cuz this is disgusting. And these people in this world are disgusting. I mean that from the bottom of my soul.
So she wants to remain anonymous. She alleges that in 2003, when she was only 17 years old, she was trafficked by Diddy, flown on his private jet from Detroit to New York City, where she was plied with drugs and alcohol until she couldn't consent and then gang at Bad Boy Studio by Diddy and several of his associates. The lawsuit also includes several photos of this Jane Doe, which she alleged were taken at the studio on that night, including one where she's sitting on Diddy's lap. Now,
I got a question for anybody watching this video, and it's very genuine. So you know how they say like sex trafficking? So basically, what they just described it as though was like he just took her somewhere else and then he did something bad to her. Okay, I get that. But for some reason, when I thought of sex trafficking in life, I always, for some reason, just thought that it was like, oh, some man is throwing you in the back of the van and sending you off to Mexico with a bunch of other women. I'm not gonna lie, like, and that's how ignorant and naive I have been in life. Because I don't think I understand the fullness of what sex trafficking is. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. So somebody let me know in the comments or DM me. Somebody educate me. Somebody educate the kid, bruh. Please. Let's continue.
keep in mind, the statute of limitations has long expired on the state level in New York for all three of these cases. And that's why these women are suing in civil court under what's called New York's Adult Survivor Act, which was a special provision that gave victims of sexual abuse a one-time, one-year window to sue their alleged sexual abusers and institutions, even if the statute of limitations had run out. But for the crime of sex trafficking of a minor, there is no statute of limitations under federal law. So in theory, Diddy could be tried in federal court for flying the 17-year-old Jane Doe on his private jet across state lines to New York for the purposes of soliciting sex. This falls under federal jurisdiction.
Okay, is that what sex trafficking is, what he just said? Somebody please let me know in the comments.
For the crime of sex trafficking. Once again, the same thing that eventually took down Jeffrey Epstein. Now, whether or not the feds try to charge him for this is yet to be determined. A lot has to do with eyewitness testimony for someone other than the alleged victim, meaning more people would have to come forward and be willing to testify. Sex crimes are notoriously difficult to prosecute, and I assume Diddy's lawyers could shred this witness to pieces, arguing that she doesn't remember the facts, she was intoxicated, and after all, the incident happened over 20 years ago. In my opinion,
that's actually the messed up thing about like sexual assault cases and like child sexual assault cases, all that stuff. It's actually very sad because it's many people that can use that very argument. Oh, they don't really remember all of what happened or whatever. People can really use that argument, bro. But it's like, how many times does our brain try to save us from our own pain? So imagine so imagine 20 years ago, something very drastically bad happened to you, and you are very fully aware that it happened to you, but you don't recollect every bit of it. You were either intoxicated, under some drugs, or your brain was really trying to save you from that pain. That's just like in my brain, what I could relate that to is like when somebody gets hurt, right? Say somebody gets stabbed or something. The person that got stabbed, they're not dying right away. They have adrenaline. They have adrenaline pumping through their veins now. Their body is fighting for survival. Do you not think that the woman or male brain would not do the same thing while going through something so traumatic? Just my thoughts. I could be wrong, and anybody could try to come and correct me cuz I'm up for that. You feel me? These are just my opinions.
There's no way the feds would risk going to trial if their whole case rested on the testimony of this one victim. Of course, photos and videos would be helpful, which is exactly what Homeland Security was looking for when they raided his Miami and Los Angeles mansions on March 25th. And that's why the case of Rodney Lil Rod Jones is so interesting. Jones was a former producer and videographer for Diddy and lived at Diddy's home between September 2022 and November 2023. In February of this year, Jones filed a lawsuit in federal court claiming that while he was living with Diddy, he was, quote, sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened. Jones claims he was the victim.
I'm stopping it here. Part 2 coming soon. Peace out. I love y'all. And let me know what you think about the video and my opinions in the comments. Let's have a conversation about these things. Have a good one. I'll be a motherfucking legend.